Chapter 5, Hook's Wake. The Black Sea writhed beneath the cliff like a living thing. It wasn't water anymore, not really. It hissed and foamed in unnatural patterns, thick as oil and dark as pitch, reflecting no moonlight because there was no moon. Neverland's sky had shifted again. Above the horizon, a swirling void loomed where the stars should have been. A ship lay docked in the cliffside, no longer a vessel but a fused monstrosity of driftwood, iron, bone, and flesh. Once known as the Jolly Roger, it had been repurposed into something grotesque, a spire-shaped citadel crawling with vines that breathed and metal that screamed when touched. Inside, Captain James Hook stood alone in a chamber of polished stone and pulsating light. He wore no jacket, no feathered hat, just a long black coat etched with glowing runes, stitched into the lining with hair. His claw, now fused bone and cursed shadow, clicked rhythmically against the stone floor. A figure knelt before him, trembling. A lost boy. Naked, trembling, scarred across the face with what looked like burns. "You followed her," Hook said, voice slow, measured. "You saw her with him." The boy, probably 18, nodded mutely. "And yet you come back to me." I wanted to be brave," the boy choked. "But the others, they—" Hook stepped forward, his boots making no sound. The boy flinched. "Please, I didn't mean to betray you, I just—" Hook's claw opened. It did not strike, it did not cut. It touched the boy's chest and drank. The boy arched backward as tendrils of black vapor pulled from his skin, his eyes rolling white as his memories, his fears, his self were drawn into Hook's hand. When it was done, the boy collapsed, hollowed. Hook let the body fall. Behind him, a great iron mechanism shifted, a throne of bone, a cage of glass. Inside it, something moved, a hunched figure humming an old lullaby. Hook turned to the creature. "Soon," he whispered, "he'll come for her, and when he does, the island will finish what it began." The creature pressed its forehead to the glass. "Is it really her?" Hook's expression twitched. Wendy Darling groaned, curious, defiant. The thing in the glass laughed softly, brokenly, just like her mother. Back at the hollow tree, Wendy awoke with a scream. Not because of a nightmare, but because the sky was burning. Orange light poured in through the trees. Not sunlight, Neverland had none of that, but firelight. Something was ablaze. She ran from the hollow, heart racing. Above the treetops, black smoke coiled like a dragon. Screams echoed from the northern ridgeline, lost boys calling for help. Peter was already sprinting up the slope, sword drawn. Tinker Bell shot past them, a trail of light and sound following her like a banshee's wail. The forest thinned. They reached a plateau overlooking the ridge. Below, a second camp burned, one of the outposts the lost boys had used to scout Hook's territory. Tents reduced to ash, trees weeping flame, and amidst the destruction, shadows moved, dark figures in the shape of men but stretched unnaturally tall and thin. Wendy froze. "They're not real," she whispered. "They are now," Peter growled. "Hook been feeding them with belladonna. He's weaponized memory." He dove into the chaos. The lost boys clashed with the shadow things in a blur of blades and teeth. Shadows didn't bleed. They howled when struck, but didn't fall. One leapt onto a boy and sank into him, disappearing. The boy screamed and began striking his own face, tearing at his eyes. Peter cut through three in a blink. His movements were precise, lethal, but something about his form shimmered. His shadow was fighting alongside him. It moved just a heartbeat out of sync. Wendy drew a stolen dagger and ran to help Kale, who was cornered against a tree, blade shaking. She drove the knife through a shadow's neck. It evaporated in a burst of black ash. Kale gasped, panting. "They're faster now." "They're not just echoes anymore," she said. "They're soldiers." A roar interrupted them. From the flames emerged a new figure, Hook's lieutenant. He was tall, covered in twisted armor sewn with scales. A mask of gold fused to his face. His arms ended in twin scythe-like appendages. Tinker Bell dove for him first. He batted her out of the sky with one sweep. She hit the ground hard, her glow dimmed. Peter turned, eyes blazing. The battle became a blur. Steel rang, the wind shrieked, the forest bent as if the island itself recoiled. Peter met the lieutenant head-on. Their clash sparked fire through the trees. Magic pulsed with each strike. Wendy could barely follow it, but she saw the moment when Peter faltered. The lieutenant grinned and slashed, cutting across Peter's ribs. Blood sprayed, Peter dropped to one knee. Wendy screamed. The shadow stepped forward, interposing itself, and let out a sound that split the world. The lieutenant recoiled, shrieking. His mask cracked. Peter surged back to his feet, drove his blade into the man's gut, and twisted. The lieutenant fell, convulsing. The shadows around them melted back into nothing. Silence. The flames died suddenly, like breath pulled from a candle. Peter stood panting, covered in blood and staring at his own shadow, which now stood fully apart from him, tall, grinning, dripping with darkness. It bowed to him, then vanished. Back at the hollow, Wendy helped bind Peter's wounds. He sat shirtless, sweat-slick, with a gash across his ribs that shimmered faintly with unnatural gold. "You're bleeding magic," she murmured. Peter didn't meet her eyes. "It's in me now, all of it." "Hook doing." "Mine too," he admitted. She looked at him, really looked. "What is he after, Peter?" Peter stared into the fire. "Not just me, not just Neverland. He's after the end of the story. He wants to rewrite it." Wendy felt her skin crawl. "Rewrite what?" Peter looked at her then, and in his eyes something shattered. "You."